Hello X Factory friends and family, this is Paul Sinclair with another voice-over video. I know it's been a little while since we've done one of these. It's been a busy summer with the X6 Cubed, but after this weekend's great racing success at the Short Course Nationals hosted by RC Madness, I couldn't wait to show you all the racing action. So we're going to talk over the Amain race. Of course, X Factory finished 1, 2, and 3, which is just a fantastic result. And I want to show you guys kind of my thinking and how it all developed and happened during the race. So first, showing you the grid. I was qualified third, which so the video was taken from the steps leading up to the driver's stand, and the end of the straightaway is a little hard to see. But I'm that truck right against the post there, and I had two thoughts going into the race. First, this was a single A main, 1 6-minute race for all of the marbles. And whenever that's the case, whenever it's not a triple A main, which of course is common in many electric events, but whenever there's only one race, you got to be a little cautious on the first lap. You know, discretion's the better part of valor. It's better to stay up front, you know, and be in the hunt, 4th, 5th, 6th maybe, than be, you know, back in the pack because you wrecked, or at worst, you know, if you broke and your race is done. So that's going through my head, you know, if all I want to do in the first lap especially is just keep my nose clean and see if I can stay up front. But the other thing going through my head is, since I'm on the outside of the first row, I'm going to have a pretty good challenge right off the tone from Tony Fallon, who was qualified 4th. Of course, 4th is the first truck on that second row there, and you can see we have about the same distance to that apex in the first corner. So it's pretty important for me to get the whole shot, but again, you know, discretion's a better part of valor, and if I can just stay up front in the first lap, I'll be pretty good. So without ado, you'll see when the tone goes off here, I do get a good jump and stay in front of Tony. Mark Smyka, the second qualifier, has a rough landing, and that causes me to check up a little bit, though, so in the second corner, I let Tony right back by. John Cravata, the TQ for the race, has a bit of a rough middle lap, and that actually allows Tony and I to take over the top 2 spots in the race. So this is really what I was talking about, you know, if you just keep your nose clean on that start and stay up front, you'll have a good chance. You know, I did let Tony by. He got a good run on me after Mike Schmeika's wreck. And in the sweeper, at the end of the first lap, I'm just able to mid-motor straight by him and take the lead of the race. Unfortunately, a little racing incident right there on the off-camber. Tony does the gentleman thing and waits for me, and that's going to allow my another teammate, Jim Edmonds, to take over the lead of the race. And in this second lap here, we're going to start to settle into kind of a nice little freight train for the first half of the race, and that is Jim Edmonds leading the race. I believe Jim Edmonds qualified 5th or 6th. I'm in 2nd, and Tony Fallon in that 3rd spot. So this was kind of a tough spot. I think my truck was a little bit faster than Jim's. Jim hasn't had a lot of time on our vehicles. He just joined the team this summer and found himself in the lead of the race. And it's difficult because him being my teammate, I wasn't going to be aggressive and look for a quick way around him. You know, I mean, if he bobbled or wrecked and gave me an open door, of course I was going to take it. But I focused more on driving defensively and keeping Tony in that 3rd spot. Rather than really trying to be aggressive and pass Jim. You can see here there's a few open doors, a few little corners that Jim enters wide, and you know, I just back down, let Jim go through the corner, carry his corner speed, and not have to worry about me really trying to shove my nose in while I'm defending Tony pretty hard, driving close lines and just shutting the door everywhere I can, being as defensive as possible. I noticed, kind of as I'm driving here, that John Cravata, the TQ of the race, had actually worked his way back up to the 4th spot. And so I'm quietly hoping that he'll get up here in the mix and allow X Factory a chance at a 1, 2, 3. Some more just defensive driving around the off-camber there, heading to the triple jump. Tony's right on me, but just, you know, stay on that apex. It's better, you know, in a race situation to go a little slower and be on the apex, be on the inside of the corner, than to try to necessarily carry that speed and make a wild pass on the outside, you know, where you really open yourself up to someone getting low. So anyway, Tony makes a small bobble, and I see that Cravata is now into that 3rd spot, giving us X Factory 1, 2, 3. And Jim Edmonds makes his own bobble, landing the tabletop in that upper left corner, and I'm able to take over the lead. So this is about as good a position as I could hope for. You know, X Factory has the top 3 spots locked up here in the middle portion of the race, and yours truly is leading. So I'm going to put the hammer down and let my teammates duke it out for 2nd and 3rd, and really just, you know, keep the throttle on and wheelie over backwards and slide to the end of the sweeper. That was not in the plan, folks. That was not in the plan. I think I got marshaled by a crowd. Like I said, the video doesn't show the very end of the straightaway. I think I got marshaled from someone in the crowd. But it didn't lose the truck slid a long way on its roof, and I didn't actually lose all that much. I mean, I lost the lead, of course, but only fell back to 4th. And a mistake from Tony there in the triple section. And I find my way back up to 3rd, and it's still an X Factory top 3. So I am just ecstatic in this mid portion of the race. John Cravata's leading it out, and I'm battling with Jim for that 2nd spot. Look at the inside of the straightaway, but no real room to move. We're going to come, through the kind of the double jump around the off camber and into that tabletop.
2:05 remaining. 2:05 remaining.
I do get a good run on him around the triple here, and then try to make a move over the double jump, but I found myself in a line that I don't normally take. I was further away from the driver's stand than I like to be over that double jump in the middle, and I caught it just wrong. It threw my truck up in the air and landed upside down. And that's kind of the nature of short course racing, the bodies just catch wind like crazy. And it's real important to try to stay in your groove and run the race you normally do, So with that little Marshall, I found myself back in 5th or 6th spot, but quickly made my move back up to 4th spot and found myself in the familiar position of chasing down Tony to try to get back on the podium. So John Cravata here, we're following him through the sweeper, is pretty secure in his lead of the race. Jim Edmonds is in 2nd, and then going down the straightaway here is Tony and myself. We're closing on. We have about a minute or so to go. And, I'm pretty confident that X Factory is going to get the win. Cravata has been solid. He TQ'd all 3 rounds of qualifying. So, it was a good bet that he wasn't going to mess up. And I was just doing everything I could at this point to be aggressive and chase down Tony to wrap up that last podium spot. So we'll see here in the closing minutes. Tony makes a bobble. It's off camera. But if you notice, I'm the 3rd truck down the straightaway there. I think he had a problem getting on the straightaway or rolled it in that right-hand section, which is a pretty rough spot on the track. And so now with about 30 seconds to go, I find myself in that 3rd spot, and Jim Edmonds isn't too terribly far ahead of me. And with X Factory a pretty probable 1, 2, 3, a slight bobble by Edmonds is going to make this last lap pretty interesting. The announcer calls the white flag out. Cravata has a pretty insurmountable lead at this point, but Jim and I, it's no more Mr. Nice Guy, no more Mr. Team Driver at this point. We're duking it out for that 2nd and 3rd spot on the podium. I tried to make a move leading up to that off camber, but didn't do well. And instead, I got a really good run through the triple. See how much ground I made up coming out of that triple jump? I just carried my speed well. And Jim went about 6 inches wide on that drop-down corner, and I was able to stick my nose in and make it happen. And then carried a nice tight line getting on the straightaway. No chance he was going to take it back from me. And that's the end of the race. John Cravata taking the win, of course, to go with his TQ. And myself in 2nd, and my other teammate Jim Edmonds on 3rd to wrap up the podium. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.